Oh, welcome back, one and all. This is Tim Ugly Doggy coming to you with another episode of This Land Is My Land. As you can see, after the last episode, we've basically finished clearing out the plains. We're headed on into the forest region. We've got a couple more pushes to go before we have them ultimately pushed into this far corner. And we are on day 169, 23 villages, 630 warriors, with 38% of our land back. Now, looking at the map, it sure seems like I have more than 38% of the land, and I suspect that is due to the fact that I have been really light on making villages. Usually I would have around 40 villages right now. And I suspect if I were to go ahead and place, say, 10, 15 more villages, this 38, without taking any more land, would probably jump to 50, 55%. It would be pretty dramatic. I'm tempted to go ahead and do that. Only problem being is at about the 50% mark of your map, that's when you start seeing patrols come through. I don't know that I really want to deal with patrols yet, but I do have some decisions to make today, and on this stream, this episode, is basically going to be micromanagement. It's going to be a little bit of loot control. I also need to arm, I think it's 9 villages with the correct weapons. And I'm also running into an issue where I'm running out of space. So even though I have all my villages maxed out, I'm quickly gaining warriors to the point that I don't have the space to house those warriors. So I have a choice I can make. I could either start sending out warriors on patrol, which the more I think about it, might be the wiser way to go. The problem with that being that my warriors are not max level, and warriors don't have a great track record when I send them out on patrol against cavalry patrol. So there's a good chance I could lose a lot just by having them try to engage. It also takes quite a bit of the control away from me. Whereas if I have a lot of villages placed and a cavalry patrol comes, I can choose when and where they meet. So I could send out 3 villages worth of warriors to attack 1 patrol. But if I have just a few villages on the map and everybody else is out on patrol, it's not really up to me when and where they meet. They're just going to randomly meet, and chances are they're not going to meet in large groups. So it's a little bit to chew on. I'm also apparently going to talk about some strategies and getting ready for the long game. Everybody seems to be pretty well set on the short game, but I haven't seen very many people talking about getting ready for the long game. So there's plenty of tutorials and videos out there talking about the short, but not much out there talking about the long. And I suspect most players, especially the newer players, don't realize how much more to this game there is than they're seeing. So I'd like to change that. I'd really like people to start getting into the long game. It'd be nice to have players that have been playing for, a few months and some competition in the market as far as having a solid feeder campaign that can compete. It'd be interesting to see where the prices would go with that. Be careful what you ask for, though, because I'm not going to appreciate the competition so much. But, I've been through a few trade wars myself. I'm not overly concerned about it. Anyways, let's change the subject. Go ahead and grab me another bow. So I don't expect there to be much action in this episode. This episode is more about doing micromanaging and just mumbling continuously, making noise. But you know, it is what it is. 1500. I'm checking out the market right now. Uh, yeah, nothing great. All right, let's get to it. First thing I need to do here is get all this junk out of these villages. So of course, I should probably, now that I'm thinking about it, I should probably finish raiding before I do this. That's going to take a minute. Alright, let's see if we can do that. Equip. 18 guys. I'm not sure if that would empty out that fort. Alright, we're going to try it this way. So before I take out all the loot from all these villages, I need to finish clearing the land, which is obviously going to take a minute. You can't need more than that. Let's equip you there. And the rest of you guys can come up here. Take care of that for me. Got to keep an eye on this patrol. I hope he's not going down to this camp. If he is, I just sent my boys on a dangerous mission. I already know that the town is emptied. That's, again, pretty disappointing. Oh, that's not what I want to do. I'm nervous about this guy. Let's see, I got all those. Leave all those. Okay, they got out of there. Is there anything left in there? No. I always leave 100 meat in every village. That way, if they do get overpopulated, you're not going to lose those warriors. 100 meat and 100 wood are two very useful items for every village. A lot of grocery. I'll just leave the 300 there, that's fine. Alright, so they got their good stuff. I can send these guys. Pretty sure I can send them safely. Take care of that gel. What did they get? And everything up here is done, right? Yes. It's looking pretty clean to me. What is this guy? 23 and 22. Okay. I can come back for them. I don't want to spend too much time doing all this. There's some good gun parts here. And as you can see, you can be overweight by quite a bit, but I wouldn't be able to move right now, so I'm in a little bit of a dangerous position by doing this. So you want to make sure you're someplace safe when you choose to do your village maintenance. Now, as you can also see, I didn't, I'm not doing this for every village that I create or every camp that I take out. I run a sort of rhythm, and that's I take out, I clear a zone, then I stop for a little bit, I empty out the loot, I condense it into my core village, and then make sure that each one of those villages has bows and arrows. And about every 10 villages, I go ahead and stop for a long period. You're not bringing anything back, okay. And I stop for a long period and make sure that I arm my newest villages. So it looks like he's done, looks like all the loot's going to be in the camps or in the villages. So a part of arming the 9, 10, 12 new villages is I want to get everything that doesn't belong in that village or isn't needed by that village out of it. That way I can have the same items in every one of my villages at the end of the day. And it just makes loot management a lot easier if you have everything in one place. Although there was that one campaign where I came close to losing my core village. That would have sucked. I had like a couple 100,000 items in that core village easily, and it almost got took out. Trying to find all that stuff would have been such a pain. Trying to move it back to the core village. Yeah, that would have been a nightmare. I think I was down to like 4 guys. That was harsh. Oh, there's a boatload of meat. Did you see that? That was 2,600 meat right there. Alright. We're only on like the second village. There's a lot of stuff. I do leave all the food in each village. No need to condense all that into one place. Spread the love, you know? I want to put back 100 meat. And I believe... No, I did leave some. Okay, good. 1. What? Inventory's full. You also notice I have the game paused during this period, just so I don't accidentally run into an issue I'm not prepared for. At some point they're going to try to reoccupy that second town I just took out. I expect that to come pretty soon. And again, this is usually something I would do offline, because I know it's not the most exciting thing to watch. But I figured somebody might want to know what it takes behind the scenes to make everything work. That is all good stuff. So you can see my inventory item count's going up quite a bit. Oh, I want to leave all. Now I've been picking up a lot of fish. That's another thing too. If my goal was to make this a feeder campaign, then every village you would want to leave the meat, sinew, and wood that it gathers while you're going through the campaign. That way, when you get to the point where you actually want to send them out to start gathering, they'll have the wood and sinew to create the hunter bows that they're going to need. And that'll just speed up the process of establishing your feeder campaign. And once again, there's nothing as fun or as enabling in this game as a solid feeder campaign can be. It just gives you so many options of what you can do. It opens up a lot of doors, a whole nother level of the game that you're not going to experience unless you have a solid feeder. And just having a feeder isn't necessarily enough. It really should be a solid, sustainable, well-controlled feeder so that you're allowed more options quicker. In other words, if you have a campaign that you can gather a few items once in a while with a few villages, that's not going to allow you to have as many options as you would if you had a campaign where every village is safe. You have a large number of villages, and you know what's coming from the pale faces. What, when, and where makes a huge difference. I guess you could say intel. You always want to know what the enemy's going to do. Alright, that was easy enough. So all of our villages, oh wait, well, maybe. Yeah, I did. I went through all these, right? Yeah. Alright, solid. So, what do I have, 9? Yes. So, let's do ammo first. Alright, as you can see, all my villages have the same weapons in them. I guess I could just go down the line, right? Yeah, why not? So I need 36. I need 9, 9. That was that one. Then I need 18 Palmer, 18, 18 on the Palmers. I need 9 and 18. 18. Alright. And we're probably getting pretty close to our max. So let's go ahead and drop these bad boys in. We say 4. 1, 1, 2. And this is how I do it. Rinse and repeat. Oh, it's supposed to be 2. Very exciting stuff, no? There we go. The things that must get done. As you can see, most of these villages are at max capacity, so they can actually use these weapons, which is why I wait until this point to do this, because I don't want to place 30 high quality weapons in a village that has 5 guys in it. That's not going to do anybody any good. But once I get them to the point where they can be filled with warriors, then I go ahead and do this. That way they're always ready for a raid that could be coming. Or anything that might run into them, like gatherers, patrols. And there's not as much chance of losing everything. Alright, where are we at? We're off of there, so we need 4. And, no, we need 18 and 36. $18.81. Ooh. I don't know if I'm going to be able to carry that many. Pretty sure I'm not. What is it, 81? What? 81? Wow. I got a shit ton of sharps in these. Why am I... No, is that right? He's got 7 and 7. He's not supposed to have 9. That seems like an awful lot. I guess. Alright. I don't have that many in here, though. I'm not sure why I have this many sharps in each village. Huh. I don't know, I'll figure that out later. Alright, so I need 2, 4, 7, apparently. I have a shit ton of sharps. I guess because it's such a powerful rifle, I decided to put it in there in larger numbers than the Palmers. And also, I've already done Palmers as the main rifle, so I'm not much for doing the same thing twice when I'm trying to learn about the game. I guess that makes sense. I'm obviously going to need to bring over some more high quality sharps. Luckily I have enough. What does they say? 19, 18. So. Alright. Ah, you suck. That's funny. I screwed up. I just grabbed the wrong rifle there. What's that? 2, 4, 2. I already have 2 on me, so 5. Alright, where's this thing? So it is, okay, it's 10, I guess. There. Alright, now we're on the right track. Let's get rid of that. And, okay, so 36. And what is it? Yeah, I guess 100's enough. So it's 238. Why do I have 238 when I only have 2? Because it's only supposed to be 100. Oh yeah, that's right. I didn't take the ammo out of the villages. Did I? Yeah, I did. But not the ones. Okay. So those are extra bullets. It's pretty much 100 apiece. Yeah, I would expect to have 275s in each village. Yeah. Alright. I know, I'm just talking out loud here. Or thinking out loud, talking out loud. Dirt. And now we do the ammo. Do I want to just do? Yeah, because it only has. Yeah. Whoops. And I'll do 2,000. All right. What else do I want in every village? I think I'll add more meat just to be safe. And do I want to throw the sinew in there? Not really. Let's add, that'll work. Really don't care. I think that's good enough. Guns don't do much good without bullets. It's good to see the chat is active. No, I'm not reading what it's saying. So you can see what it takes to do this for 9 or 10 villages. You imagine if you wait till you have 60 villages, it could get pretty mind numbing. Which gets old fast. I've done that. I've done like 60, 70 villages, maintenance and micromanaging all in one shot. Oh man, those are some hard uh, periods of downtime. Even during 10, kind of gets on my nerves pretty quick. But I am well prepared for the mid game, and that is priceless. And that I'm not going to lose, or I shouldn't, knock on wood, lose a lot of warriors to the things that are coming. And most people seem to do just fine through the early game. They think they got the shit on point. Then the mid game pops up, starts pushing back. Most players seem to get a little worried at that point, and then they transverse into the long game, and the long game just kicks their butts, and people get frustrated. Which is a great thing about this game. You're going to think that you're ahead of the game, and it's just going to come and slap you silly. Which is frustrating in the moment, but when you learn your lessons from what happens and you go back and you kick their butts, it feels all the much more satisfying than if you already knew before you even bought the game what was to come. I always feel like I gotta stop trying to fill space with mumbling. But I hate silence when I'm stringing. I'm not about just sitting there quietly going about my way. Suppose I don't need to share with you every thought that pops in my head, though. Well, we are almost done with the village maintenance part. While I'm doing all of this, I'm still thinking about whether or not I want to place some more villages. So I kind of think I might, just to see what the difference will be. And because the last village I've placed only has 2 warriors in it, which means, but it has all the high quality weapons, so if they run into trouble, I stand a chance of losing all those weapons, and that's not fun. Luckily right now the game is paused, so I don't run a risk of losing that village. I'm wondering why I have an extra 100. 15, 14. Okay, that's why. That would be why. And 100. Excellent. Now I've also had it to where I get to this point and I continue to do stuff, I forget to save. And lo and behold, the game crashes or something else happens. My computer just dies for whatever reason. And I lose all the work I just did. So saving is a good habit to get used to, because you never know. That was 40 minutes of work I would have lost if something were to glitch out on me. Alright, so let's put you back on pause. Let's look at the situation. I've only got one more place that needs to be burnt. And it's already been looted. No, I've got two, okay. Let's go ahead and do that. Equip. We're going to burn you. We'll let this play for a second. Now, the one downside to my whole campaign is this is my core village. And I usually like to place my main camps around that core village. But I would much rather have my core village be up here. I think I'm pretty much shit out of luck. I'm just going to have to deal with what I got. It's kind of the way it looks. Alright, I believe this is the last 4 to get rid of. I didn't realize I gave them all those. Huh. Alright. Decisions to be made. I guess. Alright, let's see what we can do here. I would like to be on this road, but I don't want to take out that farm. So that's not going to work. That's a good point. This is a great point. So we're going to settle there. We're not going to give you those. Give you that. Actually, yeah. And 5. Alright, we're going to send you there. And right next to a trading post. Yeah, why not? It'd be nice if the game would pick up on what I want it to be armed with. It's not that big of a deal. Okay, we're going to settle. Right now I'm looking for villages that can be blockers, which means that they're on roads. See, this one's on a road. This one isn't quite on the road, so chances are the pale faces would slip by. I want anybody trying to make it up a road trying to get to my core village to be blocked, which is why I call these blocker villages. And what did I do wrong? Let's take that away. Alright, that's looking pretty good. Got another road on this side. I've got 3 choices there. Suppose it doesn't really matter, does it? Uh, Alright. Again, you're in a... Well, I guess I don't have to do that. I can come up above you. What's that, like 5? 2, 4 is 5, yeah. Let's do 5 more. That road's blocked. That's blocked. Okay, I guess I can block that one. What I wish I could do is send 30 bows with each one of these single warriors, but it won't allow me to do that. What am I doing? Because I can only carry 4 items with 1 warrior. And I don't want to send 10 warriors to each one of these. Mainly because I don't have that many warriors in this village. So, alright. So you're taking care of that road for me. You're solid there. Oh, this would be a perfect spot. Where am I? I'm down here. Not too much more I can do. I guess I can... Is there already something in here? No. So I don't want to add something new to this zone. Okay, so another tip is when you're adding villages, when it correlates to the amount of land that you've taken, if I add a village to this empty zone, it's going to correlate to, say, 5% of my land taken back. But if I add a village to this zone that already has one, it's going to correlate to, say, 2. I don't know what the exact numbers are, but that's pretty much the difference between settling an empty zone or one that already has something in it. Also, I forget what the also was. There was an also, but I got too many thoughts going here. Trying to think where else would be good. There's one up there. But again, that's an empty zone. Don't necessarily want to put it there. That's empty. And how many do I have now? 2, 4, 6. That's going to bring me up to about 32 villages if I do 10. So do I really need 10 more villages right now? Probably not. Considering I'd like to have a lot of villages up in this area. That's a roundabout. It's actually a really good zone to have under my control. But I'm not sure when the treaty comes through if I'm going to be able to have these be reoccupied if I have a village in it, in that zone. And what do I have? How many villages total do I have? I have 29 villages now. What do I want to do? And I'm going to be having this guy join me here pretty quick. Decisions. Yeah. Alright, I think that's pretty good for now. This is going to answer a couple of questions for me. Alright, so... Shit, where'd all these come from? Huh. Alright. I get you out of there, I get you out of there. Let's clean up this village. Interesting. You know what I forgot? I just realized I forgot the ammo for the shotguns. Dirt. First things first. Alright, I need buffalo pelt and I need wood. Do. And Another trick I use is I always leave all the items needed to upgrade villages in the very last village that I upgraded. Okay, I want to put that meat back. Yeah. Uh, this is a pretty quick process. And why not? And I'm missing bear claw. Let's just go ahead and get some more pelts as well. As you can see, you can burn through a lot of animal parts pretty quick. Alrighty. How did I run out of claws again? Didn't it just say I needed bear claw? Huh. I must be leaving it in the other village. Yeah, I know. Alright, let's get 29. Then I number it. This makes it a lot easier to keep track of where and what. Um, I got one more little chore to do. Very good. Alright, last chore is to go and put. I've been putting 30. Thinking of bumping that up to 40. Now the reason I'm placing war bows in these villages instead of all the weapons is one, I've already done all the weapons for the other villages, but mainly it has to do with the fact that I don't have anybody in these villages to defend the weapons. So it's not going to be wise for me to place a whole bunch of villages with no warriors and 30 high quality weapons. Not good. Not good at all. 24, 23. Oh, I missed somebody. Oops. Just take them all. Yeah, that's fine. But if one of these villages gets hit and all they have are heavy bows and arrows, then I'm not going to be too upset if I lose a village. No. I'm used to doing things in sets of 10, so it's kind of throwing me off. Let's go ahead and give you a few more. No. Alright, what else? Shoot. take out heavies. Let's go. Just going to check all the other villages, make sure they all have war bows. You've got way too many. You've got a weird inventory. You don't need any of those. Yeah, that's funny. I've gone through this whole campaign and I forgot to add shotgun ammo to every village. Stupid. I'm glad I noticed it before anything happened. Looks like these guys are all pretty good. $14. You've got too many, but whatever. Alright. That's good. Looks like I've got one more chore. So I've got what, well, shit. That's going to take everything. Interesting. How many shotties do I have per? 1, 2, 3. 2 of those, 3 of those. So don't necessarily need to give them 100 apiece. Should I give them 60? It's more than enough. Yeah. That's more than enough. Let's rectify this situation. Won't take too long. Oops. One second. Come on. Speed typing is not my fault. And we are almost done with the micromanaging, which is nice. Spent what, Looks like about an hour and 10 minutes working on the map. Just making sure things are set correctly. And this time spent will pay off in the long run for sure. Unless like a numbskull, I'm putting 30 instead of 60. They've got 100. No, they didn't. So why did you get it? Weird. You don't need 160. Huh. Yeah, okay, whatever. I'll just deal with that later. Seems like some of the villages have the ammo and some don't, for whatever reason. See? I'm just going to make sure everybody has ammo. Is it? No, it was 18, right? Yeah, 18, so 19. Now I've brought in enough guns and ammo to arm 65 villages is my goal before the treaty is offered, which is why I'm holding so many of everything. Three. 24 has been left alone. Okay. I don't know how I missed 24. Oh, no, duh. That took a second. Wait, what am I doing? I don't need to do that then. There. Those are the new villages. Alright. We good. Now I can see these guys all have too much. Interesting. So I did add the ammo up into that. Huh. Taking ammo out is a lot quicker than putting it in. That's for sure. I definitely don't need 160 rounds for like a total of 5 guns. Same thing with the 20. Excellent. Make sure I save my progress. And I believe we are done. Now this still says, okay, it says I'm at 39%. Which isn't too bad. It went up a couple of percent for the 6 villages that I introduced. Looks like all of the forts and camps have been burned. Would like to go through, settle over these, and get rid of them. We still have farms. Alright, well, that's all. That wasn't too bad. I've gone through basically this whole plains section, the middle section of the map, and then at the end of it, I took a pause and managed all my villages, and I've also settled 2, 4, 6 more villages, brought them to max, and put the basics in each one. Not to mention the fact that I armed another 9 villages, no, 10 villages with the correct weapons. So I now have 20, what? So I now have 23 well armed, well populated, well populated villages. I like it. I think we've made some really good progress so far. We're on what, like day 170? And what was it, around 50, 60 of those days were spent just crafting up the million social or skill points, which I still have 403,000. There's not really, I mean, I have skills that I could upgrade, but I never use them, so I don't know why I would. Clean my reputation for no reason. If I turn this into a feeder campaign, this 400,000 will go down really fast. As you can see how expensive those skills are going to be at this point. I went ahead and made sure I had the fishing in case I do want to do some fishing. Yeah. Crafting wise, we've got a few solid blueprints. I don't think I have this blueprint, although I might have recently gained it, but I don't think I have this blueprint in my feeder campaign, and I don't have this one. So those are definitely useful. That's a nice one to have. I've got everything else in my feeder campaign, so I don't really need it here. And inventory wise, all the guns that are not high quality have been gained during this campaign. Not really spectacular numbers. That's pretty nice. That's definitely nice. But again, not really spectacular. Nothing super exciting. I've probably gained about maybe 10 of these during this campaign. You would think being a feeder campaign, these numbers being this far into it would be higher, or at least I expected better loot. Can't really tell what the ammo levels would have been like, but gun parts, whole bunch of gun parts I don't need. And 6, that's pretty weak. That's pretty weak. I think 52 is nice, 126 is okay. 85 on the screws. Only 6 butt plates. Yeah. I mean, considering how much of a insane campaign I've gone through, I've already taken out 2 villages or 2 towns, all the forts, all the camps, and this is all I have to show. I'm not too impressed by that at all. Yeah, that's the loot compensation, I think, is lacking. This now remember, this is the first insane campaign that I've gone through and done, but I was definitely expecting better loot. The only loot that I've gained that's actually impressive at all is the grocery. But I mean, that's a loot that gets depleted pretty damn quick. Let's see what my villages are at. Level 1, level 5, 2, and 8 has had like 700. What? Oh, because I moved it. I must have moved their warriors out. Level 2, level 5, or 3, I mean. Yeah. Huh. My mid-game impressions, I suppose you would call it, on loot and warrior skill levels is pretty disparaging. Yeah, I'm not impressed. That's actually kind of a disappointment. I don't usually like to be like a bummer or anything, but I mean, I've gone through quite a bit of this campaign. I would definitely expect more loot, especially considering this last town didn't give me any guns. I still don't understand that. And it only had a few gun parts, but I really expected more. It's what it is. Who knows what's to come? I believe there's 2 more towns. I have no idea where they are. I'm gonna assume one's here and one's probably here, but I could be wrong. But yeah, we're in a pretty good position so far. In the next campaign, the next episode, I suppose, we're gonna come up this way. We're gonna decide whether or not we want to zigzag up and down, which I'm kind of leaning towards, or if I want to work my way back over this way. I don't know. And that would be short swings because I want to leave them in this area. So we'll have to see how it goes. Looks like we've got a campaign or a patrol to come back to, and plenty of action. Yeah, let's take a quick peek. This says 39.6. Let's go ahead and exit out. Let's see what this says. Yeah, 40. That's not bad. Considering I gained 6 more villages and it only took like 3.5%. That's not bad. 29 villages now. My goal is to have 60 to 65. So I definitely need to continue expanding my villages, huh? Interesting. All right, well, I hope you found any part of that interesting. I know it was pretty mundane, not a lot of action. If you watched through the whole thing, kudos to you. And we will catch you on the next one. Peace out, guys.